Jeans. They're not just clothes, they're a symbol. A middle finger to conformity. From outlaws and rebels to rock stars and pioneers, jeans have always been the uniform of those who refuse to follow the rules. But here's the dirty truth. That rebellious spirit, it's been sold out. The industry shipped overseas, chasing cheap labor and cutting corners in a race to crank out cookie-cutter denim. Most jeans today are a watered-down version of what they're supposed to be. We're not playing that game. We make our jeans the hard way, the right way, and this is how we make them. It all begins with cotton, a crop that thrives in the warm climates of the southern United States. This is Mark Lassiter, a third-generation cotton farmer in eastern North Carolina. He runs his family cotton farm with his brother Donnie. When the cotton is ready to harvest, the Lassiters use state-of-the-art cotton pickers to carefully remove the bolls from the plants while leaving the stalks intact. Modern cotton harvesters can pick up to 190,000 pounds of cotton in a single day. After harvesting, the cotton heads to a gin for processing. This specific gin is owned and operated by a co-op of area farmers in eastern North Carolina. Here, rotating saws separate the lint, the soft, fluffy fibers, from the seeds and debris. The gin, short for engine, was invented by Eli Whitney in 1793 and revolutionized the textile industry. Once separated, the lint is compressed into bales weighing around 500 pounds each, while the seeds are set aside for uses like planting or making cottonseed oil. A sample of cotton from every bale is archived and sent to the USDA. These samples are used to grade the cotton on qualities like fiber length, strength, and color, a process that ensures consistency and determines its market value. This archive also acts as a record of each bale's origin, keeping the supply chain traceable. Think of it as the cotton's birth certificate, verifying its quality and authenticity before it heads off to the spinning mill. After ginning, the cotton is sent 3 hours west to a spinning mill in Rockingham, North Carolina. The journey begins in the opening room. The compacted cotton bales are fluffed up and blended together. Machines called openers loosen the fibers and remove any remaining debris, creating a uniform mixture that's easier to work with. Next, the cotton enters the carding machine, a process that's often called the heart of spinning. Here, the fibers are combed through a series of fine wires that align and untangle them into long, soft strands. The result is a delicate, web-like material that's condensed into thick ropes called slivers. The slivers are then sent through a drawing frame, where multiple slivers are combined and stretched to improve consistency. This process evens out the fibers, ensuring that the yarn will be uniform in thickness and strength. By the end of drawing, the cotton is ready for its final transformation. In the spinning frame, the slivers are drawn out even further and twisted into yarn. This twist is what gives the cotton its strength and elasticity, making it durable enough to handle the weaving process. The amount of twist can be adjusted to create softer or tougher yarns, depending on the intended use. Once spun, the yarn is wound onto spools, ready to move on to the dyeing stage. After spinning, the yarn is shipped to our friends at Mount Vernon Mills in Tryon, Georgia, to begin the dyeing and weaving process. It starts with the creel, a large machine that holds hundreds of yarn spools. The yarn is pulled from these spools and wound into tight bundles called ball warps. Each ball warp contains around 400 to 500 individual strands of yarn, all neatly arranged and ready for dyeing. The ball warps are then run through the dye range, a series of machines where the yarn is dipped into vats of indigo dye. Indigo dyeing is a unique process because the yarn doesn't absorb the dye all the way. Instead, the surface is coated in layers, giving denim its signature fading ability over time. Between dye baths, the yarns are exposed to oxygen as they run nearly 30 feet from floor to ceiling. This oxidation is what transforms the dye from green to the deep blue we associate with denim. Once the yarn has been dyed, it's dried in large barrels and rewound onto beams in a process called rebeaming. These beams are essentially giant spools that hold hundreds of dyed threads, all aligned perfectly for the next step, slashing. In the slashing process, the dyed yarn is coated with a starch-like substance to strengthen it for weaving. This protective coating prevents the threads from fraying or breaking as they're woven into fabric. After slashing, the yarn is ready to become denim. The beams of dyed yarn are loaded onto looms for weaving. Denim is woven using a twill pattern, where the indigo-dyed warp threads pass over and under the undyed white weft threads. This creates the classic diagonal ridge pattern that makes denim so recognizable. The looms must be monitored closely by the weavers, for if a thread breaks, they must be tied back individually by hand. After weaving, the denim undergoes a series of treatments to bring the denim back to its final state. The finished fabric is run through frames and exposed to heat to lock in fabric width, stretch, and other key properties. Any irregularities in the weave, dye, or texture are flagged and corrected. A swatch from each roll of fabric is compared to a standard swatch agreed upon by Mount Vernon and Origin to make sure that every roll is held to a high standard and within tolerance. The finished fabric is then shipped to our factory in Asheboro, North Carolina. Here, it's cut into pieces that will become your jeans. Large sheets of fabric are laid out on long cutting tables and cut with a high-precision laser. Once the pieces are cut, any embroideries are done before they're sent to the sewing line, the most labor-intensive process of jeans manufacturing. This involves more than a dozen steps, from attaching the pockets and stitching the inseam to adding the waistband and belt loops. Learning how to properly assemble a durable jean has been one of our toughest challenges. Jeans wouldn't be jeans without their rivets. The tiny metal reinforcements you see in the pockets, these were patented in 1873 by Levi Strauss and Jacob Davis to prevent tearing at stress points. Along with rivets, buttons, belt loops, and zippers are carefully added, completing the basic structure of the jeans. Most jeans are washed before they're sold to achieve their signature look and feel. At Origin, we use an enzyme wash, a process that relies on natural enzymes to break down surface fibers, creating a soft, comfortable texture without using harsh chemicals. All of our jeans are washed to ensure an out-of-the-box fit. Before the jeans are ready to leave the factory, they go through rigorous quality checks. Every seam, rivet, and zipper is inspected to ensure that it meets exacting standards. Interestingly, even slight variations in stitching or color can cause a pair of jeans to be rejected. Finally, the finished jeans are tagged, folded, and packaged for shipping. You might have heard us say that when you get your Origin jeans and follow them back to the source, you'll end up in a field talking to a farmer. That's because we don't cut corners. We go all the way. Dirt to shirt, field to finish, fiber to fabric. This isn't just denim. It's a story of independence, of rebellion, of pride. Origin Denim. Made in America without compromise.